D-Day's got really heavy suggestions about the war, but its concept is in planning when you don't actually know the date of an event. So the Allies could talk about D-Day. They could talk about D-Day -7 to indicate that that was 7 days before this predetermined date. They could train troops, move men, etc., all leading up to D-Day, but the day of actual execution that would lead to freedom in Europe, that might not be determined, or it could change. So in Quit Your Diet, we talk about D-Day as Diet Day, the day you quit your diet forever. And in the same way as the Allied invasion, I suggest a 14-day build-up to the execution of Diet Day, the last day of your diet. It was convenient to keep that analogy and use VE Day as every day after that. Victory and empowerment, because that's what you get after Diet Day. You are now in control forever. And in today's video, I want to talk about the build-up to that special day and why we need a build-up. But as you'll find, it's as obvious as the Allied troops just jumping on a boat and headed across the channel. Hey, let's go. It needs planning and build-up, and the day might shift. My name's Matt Dawson. I'm the author of Quit Your Diet, Think to Shrink. And if you're done with meal plans, calorie counters and food diaries, then you could be in the right place, because I'm here to help you create a 14-day plan to quitting diets forever and to create your very own D-Day. And you can start the journey by jumping on board with my free membership, which gives you access to a whole load of tools, downloads and zip files on my website, actionfactorypublishing.com. So the concept of D-Day is a great analogy because it's a form of planning, a way to work backwards from any given date. So you plan everything up to D-Day, and if that date changes, then everything else shifts. A bit like baking a cake without having decided what time dinner is going to be. It's a perfect analogy for quitting your diets because we build a 14-day plan and then we're able to decide when our D-Day is going to be. So in today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about the concept of D-Day and why it's so important. And the concept is a great illustration of how we build our own roadmap or plan to Diet Day. Diet Day is usually in around 14 days, but you might not yet have decided on that date. It still enables you to fill in the template and be ready to bring your plan into action. And in fact, I can take the analogy further because in my book, we work around the idea of what I call MAP. MAP is a kind of 3-part plan. M is for map, which this is the time when you set your destination or you're making the decision. You're checking out the terrain and the destination before even moving and knowing what tools and equipment you're going to need. Is it a jungle? Is it a desert? And how skilled are you in this terrain? Next is A, which is for a line, which is where we get our ducks lined up, getting up to speed, fully trained in the use of the tools before we leave base camp. We make sure we're skilled in the use of our equipment, so to speak, making sure we can fire a gun before we encounter our first bear in the woods and shoot ourselves in the foot. And this all goes on in base camp. That is A for a line. Then there is P, which is proceed. This is loading up the vehicle with specialist equipment before we climb in, start the engines. We have a map, a destination, and we are skilled in the use of the tools on board and we are ready. Now it's D-Day, Diet Day, the day we quit our diets, but not in the sense we may have quit in the past by saying sod it and buying an almond magnum. That's been my way of quitting in the past. Instead of feeling lost and isolated, we'll in fact know exactly what we're going to do next and who is coming with us on this journey. So here's a little explanation why. I'm a beekeeper, and in beekeeping we have a rule when moving a hive, 3 feet or 3 miles. This means that if you move a hive more than 3 feet, say just up the garden, you end up with a lot of angry bees who get lost when they come home at night. They've lost their hive. Move it 3 miles And then they will completely reorientate to their surroundings. After a time, you can bring them back to that new location in the garden, and the bees do it all again. Now, this is a fascinating idea to how we personally instigate change, especially around diets and health. And just like the bees, we need a really strong signal or a number of signals that things have changed and it's all different now. So I don't suggest moving your what I call cupboard of doom because you won't be able to get to the snacks. Of course, you can get to the snacks. I suggest it because it's a signal to your commitment. It reminds you of that commitment. And this is pretty typical of D-Day. There's lots of signals put in place to tell our brain that things have changed and we need to reorientate. A new route to work, getting up half an hour earlier, grabbing a coffee before work in your favourite coffee shop. All these things are signals that today is D-Day and everything you planned in the previous 14 days is in place and ready to be instigated, just as you knew it would. So it was really convenient for me to use that second analogy, which is VE Day, which is I call Victory and Empowerment Day or days. After D-Day, you've achieved your goal and you're now empowered to control your own future with regards to weight loss and weight problems. You're going to give yourself some time to adjust to your new surroundings, just like the bees. You don't drop 200 pounds overnight, and you may not decrease your physical weight for some time. In fact, you might not be aware other than a glance in the mirror because you will not weigh yourself anyway. So in this time, you'll observe the positive change and others might start to notice a feeling of kind of freedom. Control can be really complimentary and it reflects in your appearance and your demeanor. So if you like the idea of quitting years of yo-yo diets with no long-term results, then maybe you're willing to invest just 14 days in putting that whole idea behind you and getting back in control. Everything you need is within my members area and it's currently free. If you join soon, then you'll be a legacy member. And of course, you will never ever pay for that members access. Everything you need is in there. And for those interested, my book and course are also around here somewhere. If you'd like a little fun assessment of your own level of change, the best way to approach that, I built a little short 12-question quiz that not only highlights your level on the change pyramid, but will drop you some interesting information about where you can go next. So if you're done with calorie counters, meal plans, food diaries, this is a great place to start. So if you found this idea interesting, then I want to thank you in advance for half a second it takes just to tap the like button, and you're free to keep exploring the channel and the website if you want to go a little bit deeper. I'm going to be back in a few days with another video. My name is Mike Dawson, the author of Quit Your Diet, Think to Shrink. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.